Hello and welcome back. The 1980s was a time of great creativity in both the toy and animation industry, with dozens of new original properties popping up in the toy aisles and on television. Several of those properties have reinvented themselves over the years and remain with us to this day. Among them, Masters of the Universe, G.I. Joe: A Real American Hero, and Transformers. But there is another property from the 1980s that is fondly remembered to this day by those who played with the toys and watched the cartoon, and that is M.A.S.K.
M.A.S.K, where illusion is the ultimate weapon.
Convert Switchblade to jet mode. Surprise, Matt Tracker. It's mayhem. Battle station. Protect the decoder, Bruce. I'm going up. Stacks ready to fire.
M.A.S.K, Switchblade, Thunderhawk, and Rhino.
Fire!
Each sold separately with action figure.
Cover me, Matt. 10-4. Sato's getting away. But you're not, Mayhem.
M.A.S.K, Switchblade, Thunderhawk, and Rhino. Each sold separately. New from Kenner.
M.A.S.K was a toy line created by Kenner in 1985, which became an animated series produced by DiC, which ran for 75 episodes in syndication in the US. M.A.S.K is an acronym standing for Mobile Armored Strike Command. Command spelled with a K to make the acronym work. The word M.A.S.K also refers to one of the gimmicks of the toy line, that being special helmets or masks worn by each of the characters that give them unique abilities. In the story of M.A.S.K, we learn that multi-millionaire and philanthropist Matt Tracker worked with his brother Andy and their colleague Miles Mayhem to create the M.A.S.K technology for the betterment of mankind. But Mayhem betrayed the Tracker brothers and stole half the masks for criminal purposes, which resulted in the death of Andy Tracker. Mayhem then founded Venom, the vicious evil network of mayhem, which used the stolen M.A.S.K technology for robbery, extortion, counterfeiting, kidnapping, and general, mayhem. Matt Tracker assembles a team of specialists and creates a law enforcement task force to battle Miles Mayhem and Venom for 22 minutes every weekday afternoon. The M.A.S.K toy line is thought to be a combination of the best elements from G.I. Joe and Transformers. Each M.A.S.K vehicle comes with a driver to pilot it, and each of the vehicles can transform into a new form. The vehicles ranged in size from the small Condor, a motorcycle that could transform into a helicopter, all the way up to the tractor rig, the Rhino. The M.A.S.K team also had a playset called Boulder Hill, which itself could transform from ordinary gas station to a fully armed defense bunker. M.A.S.K spawned the usual amount of tie-in merchandise that was common with 1980s properties, including coloring and sticker books, color forms, Viewmaster reels, a voice-changing role-play helmet, and a tie-in comic book series from DC Comics. The M.A.S.K animated series ran for 2 seasons totaling 75 episodes, and the toy line ran for 4 waves ending in 1988. Considering the glut of similar properties during that time, it wasn't a bad run. But in the mid-1990s, the concept of M.A.S.K would return, after a fashion. Hasbro purchased Kenner in 1991, and throughout the 90s, Kenner remained its own brand, releasing a huge variety of action figure lines during that era, including toys for Jurassic Park, Aliens, Predator, and the Star Wars Power of the Force series. They also brought back a few properties from the 80s in new forms. That included Transformers Beast Wars and G.I. Joe Extreme. At least one of those is well remembered. While they didn't reboot M.A.S.K, they did bring back the concept in a new form, and that was called Vor-Tech, Undercover Conversion Squad.
Ordinary man man? Ordinary machine? Think again. They're more than what they seem. They're part of the Vortech team. Ordinary citizen Rick Rhodes power converts his Sonic Stinger into a sleek stealth fighter. And aboard his Thunderwing fighter, heroic Hudson Rourke leads the Vortech undercover conversion squad. Watch as the Thunderwing instantly becomes a hard-charging ground tracker. So when Madman Damian Rourke's 4x4 reveals a weapon on water, the Vortech team takes him down.
And what they seem, the Vortech team.
Vehicles come with figures each sold separately.
The Vor-Tech toy line consisted of one wave of 7 different vehicles, each packed with a figure and in the same scale as M.A.S.K. Many of the Vor-Tech toys shared similarities with previously released M.A.S.K toys. An accompanying animated series was produced by Universal Cartoon Studios. This series ran for 13 episodes and was aired in a syndicated block, which also included the cartoons for the aforementioned Beast Wars Transformers and G.I. Joe Extreme. The story was as follows. The Vor-Tech Undercover Conversion Squad is a group of secret agents led by Hudson Rourke. Their mission is to stop Hudson's older brother Damian Rourke, known as Lord Matrix, and his evil biomechs from infecting the world with a techno-infectious plague. Like M.A.S.K, each of these agents had a special helmet or mask and a transforming vehicle. The Vor-Tech animated series was cancelled after 13 episodes, and a second wave of toys was also cancelled due to low sales and lack of interest. So Vor-Tech certainly didn't have the impact that M.A.S.K once did. But were the Vor-Tech toys as good as M.A.S.K toys? That's what we're here to find out. What we have here is what I believe to be an apples-to-apples comparison. On your left is the M.A.S.K Firefly, driven by Julio Lopez, released in 1986 as part of the second wave of M.A.S.K toys. On the right we have the Vor-Tech Desert Striker, driven by Jeremy McMasters, released in 1996 as part of the first and only wave of Vor-Tech toys. The Desert Striker takes a lot of its design and transformation cues from the Firefly. But is it as good? Let's start with a comparison of the two figures. So we see Julio Lopez, and with him he is sculpted in sort of a driving suit or a flight suit. You can see a lot of straps, a lot of padding and wrinkles there. Looks like he'd be piloting a vehicle. Whereas Jeremy McMasters, his sculpt is more indicative of a 90s figure. It's more muscular, because all the 90s figures had that sort of buff pose. Remember the first series of Star Wars Power of the Force figures, and of course G.I. Joe Extreme. He's also sculpted in sort of a pose with one knee bent. He does have less articulation than Julio Lopez. The M.A.S.K figures did have knee joints, while the Vor-Tech figures do not. As far as paint apps, they're just about similar. I guess it depends on what aesthetic you're looking for in these figures, as to which you prefer. And with their respective helmets, masks on, Julio's goes down a little further over his chest, while Jeremy's just sits on the top of his head. And while Julio's does have some paint detail on it, Jeremy's is just a solid block of red. If you look at the two figures with their respective vehicles, Julio Lopez does have some common coloration with Firefly, with the orange and the blue, but Jeremy McMasters really has nothing in common with the color scheme on the Desert Striker. I'm not even sure why they call it a Desert Striker with that very 90s blue and bright green color scheme. Those aren't really desert colors, are they? Let's get into the meat and potatoes, the vehicles. So you can see very similar designs, but the Desert Striker is a little bit shorter than the Firefly. As far as sticker detail, they're about the same. The Firefly has a few more stickers than the Desert Striker, but I do prefer the coloration on the Firefly. It looks more complementary than some of the clashing colors they used in the 90s. The M.A.S.K Firefly has some rubber or rubber-like wheels. I'm not sure if they're actual rubber because they're not cracked. This toy is from 1986, you would expect real rubber to be cracked, but they are very soft and rubber-like, while the Vortech toy just has solid plastic for the wheels. The M.A.S.K toy also has that wheel pin, which is the same color as the rim, which blends in, while the Vortech toy has those unsightly metal bolts that hold the wheels in. With the M.A.S.K vehicle, we get a nice seat in the cockpit, a little steering column there, and there's even some stickers for the controls, so a nice little bit of detail in there, but absolutely nothing in the Desert Striker as far as controls. There's only these two little pegs on the side of the vehicle that the figure can put his hands on, so I guess they're sort of joysticks he can control the vehicle with. Not sure how that would work. So much less detail in this cockpit. I do find it funny though that the gun that faces front when the car transforms is pointed right back at the driver's crotch while it's in dune buggy mode. One wrong move and you'll be singing soprano in next Sunday's choir. Firefly does have that nice 80s vac metal on the engine block, nice and shiny, but by the 90s they were pretty much done with vac metal, so you only get a gray plastic on the engine block of the Desert Striker. Now for the important part, the transformation. All the M.A.S.K vehicles had spring-loaded features when they transformed, so press this lever and there you have it. The wheels pop out into wings. Then you can take this front part, open it up, and now you have Firefly in its flight mode. There is a second feature on this second switch at the top. At the bottom, there is a little port under here where you have a bomb. So, press the second switch and drop the bomb. If you're ever buying a Firefly on the secondary market, make sure it has the bomb, because this is, of course, easily lost. To transform the Desert Striker, there are no springs, no levers to push. You just pull on it. This part flips out, and that's it. And you can see in this mode, the pilot is completely exposed in that cockpit, unlike the Firefly where Julio still has a little protection. Jeremy is all out in the open here. And I'm not sure if you can see this on camera, but on that point where the wheel attaches to the wing, there are stress marks on each side. Because there is no springs or levers on these and you have to pull it. I did buy this second hand and it has been played with, so whoever played with it was transforming it and kept pulling on those wheels, and it caused some stress in those wheel attachments. And as for the bomb on this one, yeah, there isn't any. What you see is what you get. Both vehicles in flight mode side by side. Which one do you guys prefer? I'm gonna have to go with the Firefly. And in this mode, you can see the lack of stickers on the Desert Striker is pretty glaring. They could have used some stickers on those wings to break up that big block of green color. Obviously, the only way to purchase these is on the secondary market, through eBay or a collector shop. And surprisingly, these two vehicles cost me about the same. You would think the M.A.S.K toy would be more expensive, but Vor-Tech vehicles seem to be a bit more scarce. So you will pay a bit of money for them trying to find them complete. But with the apples to apples comparison, I would say that the M.A.S.K toy is obviously the better quality product. Since the property has been acquired by Hasbro, M.A.S.K has not been completely forgotten. In 2008, a new 1/18th scale figure of Matt Tracker, named Specialist Tracker, was released in the G.I. Joe line. The bio card on this version of Tracker states that M.A.S.K works with G.I. Joe, while Venom has become a unit of Cobra. In 2016, IDW Comics rebooted M.A.S.K as part of its Revolution crossover. This comic book crossover included several different Hasbro properties, including G.I. Joe, Transformers, Micronauts, ROM, Action Man, and M.A.S.K. As a tie-in to that event, Hasbro released a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive box set of figures in 2017, which included figures from each of those franchises, including a new figure for Matt Tracker, who in the IDW reboot was African American. But recently, some very exciting news was revealed for M.A.S.K fans. In lieu of creating new toys, Hasbro has been licensing out many of its properties to other toy companies, like giving Super 7 the right to make G.I. Joe O-ring figures, and licensing the Power Rangers franchise to Playmates. It was revealed that several Hasbro properties had been licensed to the toy company The Loyal Subjects, and that included M.A.S.K. The Loyal Subjects has said that new toys will be revealed in 2025. A quote from Jonathan Cathy, founder and CEO at The Loyal Subjects, states, "M.A.S.K has all the crazy features, vehicles, small figures with removable helmets, closed box packaging with that killer logo splash, artwork, and product shots, all coming back. They're in the same scale, and we're serving it hot and fresh like 85 never left." That certainly sounds promising for M.A.S.K fans, although at this point we don't know if they're doing reproductions of the original Kenner toys or continuing the line with new figures and vehicles. It's all wait and see right now. The good news is toys from the Loyal Subjects, including their line of action figures called Best Action, can currently be found at all major retailers, including Walmart, Target, and Amazon. So hopefully whatever toys they produce for their new M.A.S.K line will be readily available, and hopefully sold at an affordable price. For fans of the cartoon, the entire M.A.S.K animated series has been released on home media, and the first season of 65 episodes is streaming for free on apps like Tubi and Pluto TV. The 13-episode Vor-Tech series, however, is currently lost media. It has never been released on home video, and the only hint of it on YouTube is simply the show's intro. So Vor-Tech, the animated series, seems to be lost to the ages. As always, thank you for your time and attention, and I will see you in the next video.